Hi, everybody. We are going to talk more about expressions today. We're going to learn the vocab that goes along with them and then also how to simplify expressions by combining like terms. I will tell you now, though, that some of these problems will be using the distributive property. If you have not yet learned or feel comfortable with the distributive property, I would really encourage you to go back and watch or rewatch that video first so that some of the problems later on in this video make sense to you. Okay, so an expression is just a math problem. It does not have an equal sign. If the math problem has an equal sign, then it becomes called an equation. So I've got an example here in blue of an expression where you see 2x minus 3y minus 6x plus y plus 7. Now that one's messy and it's not simplified yet, but it's just a math problem. When you hear me talking about terms, I'm referring to the parts of the expression. Those parts are separated by a plus sign or a minus sign. So 2x is a term, negative 3y is a term, negative 6x is a term, positive y is a term, and positive 7 is a term. Notice that I switched from saying plus and minus to positive and negative. When we go to put these together, I don't just see a minus 3y, I also see that as a negative 3y. That'll help us as we're combining our like terms. A variable is a lowercase letter that represents a missing number. So still using that same expression, x was a variable, here's a y, here's another x, here's another y. The number that's attached to them is called your coefficient. It tells you how many of the variable you have. So 2x means you have 2 of those x's. Minus 3y means there's negative 3 y's. Minus 6x, there's negative 6 x's. Now the next one just said plus y. If you don't see a coefficient with your variable, then it's a 1. It's like in language arts class, if you write a command, so like open the door. There's no subject there, so it's understood that it means you, right? Like you go open the door. If I just say y, it's understood that there's one of them. Think of it like if I were talking about money and I said I have $1, it's the same thing as saying I have $1. Or I had a cookie. I had 1 cookie. So when you don't see a coefficient attached to it, there's an invisible 1. And then this one, this plus 7, is not considered a coefficient because there was no variable with it. That's called a constant term. A constant term is just a normal number that did not have a variable. Like terms are terms that have the same variable or constant terms with no variables at all. When we're combining, when we're adding and subtracting, you can only put them together if they're like terms. So the 2x can be combined with the minus 6x because they both have x's. The minus 3y can go with the positive 1y because they both have y's. There's no other constant besides that positive 7, so he's not going to have a buddy to combine with. Last vocab word, simplest form. If an expression is in simplest form, it means you've combined all the like terms. So I mentioned that you can put a 2x with a minus 6x. When you put those together, 2 and negative 6, you end up with negative 4x. On my y's, I have a minus 3, and then remember, this is really a positive 1. Negative 3 and positive 1 would be a minus or a negative 2x. And then, like I mentioned before, there's nothing to put with that positive 7, so you just stick him on the end. So my simplified expression would be negative 4x, or sorry, I wrote x both times, didn't I? My bad. Gotta love how I rarely get through a video without finding some sort of stupid mistake. So negative 4x, that would be 2y minus 2y. Sorry about that. And then plus 7, that constant goes with it. I am really sorry I made that mistake. Okay, so let's practice some with simplifying. We're going to identify the like terms and put those together. And then if there's anything that doesn't have a like term, you just stick it in there. Typically, you want to go, if there's more than one variable, you want to go in the order of the alphabet. So if you have an X and a Y, you really want to do your X's before your Y's, or ABC or whatever they are. And then your constant terms, those normal numbers without variables, really go at the end. Now, that doesn't mean that if you get it out of order that it's wrong. You'll see me putting it in that proper order. But in your answer, if you have it in a different order, as long as if it's supposed to have a minus sign, that you still have the minus sign, or if it's supposed to be positive, you still have it positive. It's not going to be wrong if it's in a different order. Okay, so on number 1, I have 7x and minus 3x. 7 minus 3 leaves me with 4x's. I have nothing to put with that plus 2, so I'm just going to stick it on the end. Do not combine those and call it 6x. It's not 4x and 2 more x. It's 4x's and then whatever 2 is. So this next one here, actually, let me clear that up a little bit. If it goes on to tell you, like the section we already did where we evaluated expressions, if I had said that x really equals 5, that would mean I have 4 5s plus 2 more singles. So 4 times 5 is 20 plus 2 is 22. It doesn't mean do 4 times 5 and 2 times 5, right? So that's why I can't put those together anymore. Okay, 15y minus y. If you can't see a coefficient, there's really a 1 hiding there. 15, take one of them away, you're left with 14y. Number 3, I mentioned some of these we're going to use the distributive property. I can't start adding and subtracting until I take care of multiplying and dividing, right? Order of operations. Well, 8 beside the parentheses means times, but the only way to multiply this is to do the rainbows, to your distributive property. I'm going to rewrite this as 8 times a is 8a. 8 times a minus 2 is a minus 16. And then I still have that plus 3a hanging out at the end. Oh, it's not writing. What's happening? Come on, little buddy. Hello. Sometimes you just have to talk to it. I swear I'm not always a crazy person. See, it worked. So 8a minus 16 plus 3a. Now I can put those like terms together. 8a and a positive 3a is 11a. And then I've still got that minus 16. So just stick him there on the ends. Let's do some more. This one, I see distributive, right? I see a number attached to parentheses. So before I do anything with that 19, I need to do my rainbows here. I'm going to rewrite this whole problem as 19. 3 times 3 is 9. So this is a positive 9m. Positive 3 times a minus 5 is a minus 15. And then I still have a minus m hanging out. I'm going to do my m's first. I see positive 9 and minus 1. 9 minus 1 leaves me with 8m. And then I'm going to stick my constants in there. On my constants, I have a 19 and a minus 15. 19 minus 15 leaves me with a positive 4. There's my simplified expression. Same deal on number 5. I have to do the distributive first. So this problem really says 10c. 4 times c is positive 4c. And then 4 times 1 is positive 4. I always start with the variables. I don't have anything to put with that 4c, so I'm just going to write 4. Oh, I have a 10c. Seriously, get with it, Luger. 10c and 4c is a 14c. How about that? But I really don't have anything to put with that plus 4, so I'm just going to stick a plus 4. Remember, don't combine those. One of them has a variable, one of them doesn't. So it's just 14c plus 4. Unless I'm given more information about what that c equals, there's nothing more that I can do. Now, 6 and 7 get a lot trickier here because when I'm doing my distributive, it's not just a 2 that's attached to the parentheses. Remember a minus sign? can also be viewed as a negative sign. So really, this is a -2 that I need to do the rainbows with. I'm going to keep the 9. I'm not ready for him yet. -2 times b is -2b. -2 times +4 is -8 or -8. Now I can put them together. I don't have anything to put with that b term, so I'm just going to write -2b. On my constants, I have a 9 minus 8. That would be a +1. -2b plus 1. Number 7, I don't see a number attached to parentheses. When we talked on this earlier page about coefficients, let me go back to it. I mentioned that if you don't see a number attached to your variable, then really there's an invisible 1, right? We had this y and we didn't see a number attached to it. So I said it's understood that you have one of them. There's an invisible 1. It's really that same idea on this problem that we're on now. Whoops, too far. If I don't see how many of those parentheses I have one of them. But it's not just a 1. This had a minus sign. It's a -1 that I'm going to distribute. It really just means change the sign, change the sign. So I still have a 4s. -1 times s is -1s, or you can just put -s, same thing. This is a -1 times a -1. Remember, a negative times a negative, that's going to become a +1. And then I have a +2 hanging out on the outside. Let's do s's first. 4s minus 1s is 3s. And then +1 and +2 is +3. 3s plus 3. The last thing that I want to teach you how to do in this video is really what we were just doing. There's going to be some problems in your homework where you'll see figures and it'll say write an expression in simplest form for the perimeter. Perimeter just means add up all the sides, right? So it's like writing out all those terms and then just putting your like terms together. You can literally write all this out if you want. 10x plus this side is 11x plus 2 plus the side down at the bottom is 12x plus 3. And then put your like terms together, or I just go around the triangle. I don't take the time to write them all out. So I look at all my x's, 10, 12, and 11. Let's see, 10 and 11 is 21. 21 and 12 would be 33x. And then on my constants, there's nothing with the 10x. I have a +2 here and a +3 here, so plus 5. My perimeter is 33x plus 5. Do another one. I have a couple more figures I want to do with you. Number 2 is called a parallelogram. Those little markings indicate which sides have the same length, the same size. So the ones that both have one little slash mark through them, those are equal to each other. So if this one over here is 3a, this is 3a. If they have the same number of marks, they have the same size. So the top is 5a plus 2. The bottom is also 5a plus 2. And again, you can write it all out or just go around and combine your like terms. I can put all the a's together. 3 and 5 is 8, plus 3 more is 11, plus 5 more is 16 a's. And then look for your constants. I have a +2 and a +2. That would be a +4. My perimeter is 16a plus 4. Last one here, number 3. I've got a couple sides that aren't marked. As I look around the figure, I want to make sure that every side has a length. So look, this one right here isn't labeled. And then, this one down here isn't labeled. So the first thing I should do is figure out those sizes. Well, this one here has 2 marks through it. So it's the same as this one that has 2 marks. So this one here is also 6x. And then this one on the bottom has 1 mark. So it's going to match this one that has 1 mark. So it's also 9x. Now, this one does get just a little bit messy because I have so much going on and I didn't leave myself a whole lot of room on this page. So just to make it easier for my eyes to see, I am going to write these out. I'm going to look at all the X's first. I have a 9. I have a 6. I have another 6. And I have another 9. I'm going to go around the sides and make sure that I didn't miss any. So that's a Y. There's 9, 6, 6, and 9. Okay. If I add those up, see, 9 and 6 is 15, 15, and 15. I have 30 X's altogether. Let's look at the Y's. I've got a 12Y. I've got a 7Y. I've got a Y. Remember, that really means I have one of them. And I've got 4Y. Make sure I didn't miss any of those. 12, 7, 1, and 4. If I add those together, 12 and 7 is 19, plus 1 is 20, plus 4 is 24Y, and it's positive, so I'm going to put plus 24Y. I didn't have any constants with any of those, so that's my final answer, 30X plus 24Y. We will be practicing this more in class. Hopefully that helps you some. If there was anything that you're not sure about, I would encourage you to rewatch this video or just search YouTube for simplifying expressions. I mean, my goodness, I'm not the only video this isn't the only video that you can watch to help you. Feel free to watch anything at all that will help you understand this. There's also a lot of good math games online. Just do a Google search, put simplifying expressions game, and see what you come up with. Try some. If you feel like it's helpful and it's fun, do it. If not, pass and go on to another one. Don't give up on these. I know this is where it starts to feel a little more confusing to a lot of folks because algebra is a lot more abstract than what you've done before. And now we're in this algebra unit. For the rest of the stuff to make sense, this has to make sense though. So rewatch if you need to, keep plugging away. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.